So let's go over assignment number 2. Assignment number 2, as I was saying earlier, focuses on implementing the front end part of a project that you're going to be working throughout the semester, right? And in this one, you're going to be focusing mostly on using grid systems such as Bootstrap, or some of you might want to use material design. That's fine. You could use that as well, or Foundation. There's a couple of other competing CSS libraries that would be just as fine. Okay, but we're gonna be covering here is Bootstrap, right? The Bootstrap CSS library, and you're gonna be implementing the mobile first and responsive design topics that we're gonna be covering today and next week to implement this first assignment. So what you're gonna be building is an application that allows folks to build websites, right? So, I'm a web developer, and I like to use a tool online. There's a whole bunch of these tools online, right, where allow you to drag and drop widgets, right? Maybe a table widget, or a header widget, or an image widget, or all sorts of widget or video widget, and build websites. Yes. So you're building something like this, like a content management system. But it's going to be geared towards implementing mobile-friendly websites, right? Websites that natively are mobile-friendly. Okay, so a phone web application that allows you to build phone web applications. Okay, so it's like an IDE, but on the phone, right, or tablets. Here's some of the use cases. I would expect that you would do something similar like this for your project, where you would be gathering all the use cases that you want to support, and from these use case requirements fall the rest of the functional requirements that you would need to support these use cases. For instance, from the point of view of the user would like to be able to log in, register, view their profile, update their profile. They would like to be able to create any number of websites, right? So they would like to be able to create and view all the websites that they might have already created, create new ones, update existing websites, maybe their names, their description, their URL. Right? They want to look at some of the statistics of folks that have visited their website, and they like to be able to remove a website. Other use cases might be, copy a website, right? Or be able to merge websites and create something more complex. We're not doing those. We're just creating these 4 use cases. Now, a website is made up of several pages, right? So one website might have many different pages. So you should be able to list all the pages of a given website, be able to add new pages to a particular website, update the name of a page, the URL of a page, the metadata of a page, things like that. Now, pages are made up of many widgets, right? Within the same page, you might have headers and videos and images and paragraphs, right? All sorts of different widgets. So you should be able to drag and drop, right? All sorts of widgets onto a page, right? So you should be able to look at, given one page, you should be able to look at all the widgets inside of that page, right? You should be able to add new widgets. Right, remove widgets, reorder them, right? So rearrange them any which way you want. I like to be able to update those widgets, so there'll be different editors for different types of widgets, right? So the image widget will allow you to provide a URL for an image, or maybe upload an image, right? A video image, like a YouTube video image, allow you to copy and paste the URL of that video, right? So there'll be different editors for different types of widgets. Yes, right? And also remove a widget. Here's a data model that captures what we just talked about, right? All the relationships between the various entities of the system. You might have we're capturing various attributes for either a user of the. So here we're distinguishing 2 types of users. One is a developer, the one who can edit the page, who can edit the website, add pages, add widgets, rearrange things, change the content, and a different type of user, the one who consumes the content, right? Somebody who's coming to visit the website. So there's 2 types of users. different users might use the pages differently. Here we have a person is related to website. Actually, this should come off of the developer, not the person. A developer can develop many different websites, and in each website can have many different pages. One page can have many widgets, right? And they're all different types of widgets here that inherit from this top-level widget. Right? Each one of these might have an association with different events that might occur for each one of these objects. So you might be able to click on a widget, right? You should be able maybe you have a form that can be submitted, right? Different types of widgets might have different events. Pages can have also different types of events. For instance, when a page loads or a page unloads, right? There are different types of widgets, such as a header widget, a label widget, a paragraph widget. The different types of widgets that can go on a page. There are buttons that can go on a page, like a select that gives you different options, right? Or a list of things that can be selected, such as checkboxes or radio buttons, right? We're not going to focus on this part. This is actual product that is being built that we're working on, and this will be here. We're not going to be focusing this on this semester, but the idea is that you can have all sorts of scripting elements on the page as well, right? That allow you to manipulate different aspects of the different elements on the page, right? So that you can have operations that can read data from different input fields and update content dynamically as you interact with the page. But we're not going to be taking a look at those, right? So mostly just the top and across. So those are the various entities. Each one of these entities, we're going to have to be building all the operations that will allow us to manipulate these instances, right? We should be able to create all the various CRUD operations for each one of these, right? Be able to create, read, update, delete websites, create, update, delete, read pages, and so on and so forth for each one of the entities. Okay. But for this assignment, you're going to be focusing on building just a static version of these pages, just HTML, CSS. Again, the focus is to prototype this, right? Typically, you would, you might have requirements coming from a customer, and you want to give them, perhaps something for them to play around with, right? You might prototype it with some static content and give them a chance to, click around and navigate through this demo, right? For them to give some feedback to you, right? So that you can elicit some feedback from them to see if you're going the right way, right? So that you don't go off and actually implement it unless you're sure, right? Fairly sure that this is what they want. You'll be creating the following couple of pages. From a user's point of view, you'll be creating a login page, a registration page, and a profile page. Right now, these are going to be hard-coded. Right? They're not going to have any JavaScript behind the scenes. No connection to the server or any logic whatsoever. When you click on login, it will navigate to the profile page. If you click on the register button, right, it navigates to the register page. The register page, if you click on cancel, it goes back to the login. If you click on register, it goes to the profile page. All of these are all hard-coded values, or hard-coded code. Notice that we're using Bootstrap, but for styling. But again, you're free to use competing CSS libraries such as Materials or Foundation. Notice that they take up the entire width of the page, so that it creates a large area for the user to click on. Notice that it's not flush against there's some padding on the page, right? So it's not flush with the container, right? Notice that there's some margins between each of the elements, right? These are things that we're going to be looking for as well whenever you are building your own project, right? We're going to be looking for things like that. These headers at the top, they are fixed at the top so that if you scroll up and down, the header stays put, right? It stays at the top of the. I think there's a footer down below that also stays stuck to the bottom. These are all labels, right? And they're related to their input field. So if you click on the input field or you click on the label, both generate a focus on the input field, right? Again, to maximize the area where the user can touch, right? And so that they don't have to, poke around and make it easier on them to interact with the user interface. The profile will allow us to view the personal information for that particular user who's logged in, and also make changes, right? So that if you make any change, you can click on the OK button at the top, or log out, right, and bring you back to a login screen, or navigates to the related domain objects, such as the websites that this particular user is related to. Okay, so this is kind of like the starting point of the objects that are related to this particular user. So this whoever's logged in, and if they click on the websites, they will see their particular websites, right? Right now, the list of websites is going to be hard-coded for now. Okay. Again, all of this is going to be hard-coded. Right? The focus is to become familiar with responsive design using the grid system in Bootstrap or materials, right? And get all the look and feel implemented. Right? We'll come back later in assignment number 3 and refactor all this, right, to use Angular and make write the guts behind all this. From the website's point of view, they will have 2 versions. One, there will be a phone version, right? There will be a portrait version, right? That you would see on a phone that displays the content vertically like this, right? Or if you look at it on an iPad or something with a larger screen, right? It expands through the expands to take up the entire width of the page. Notice that we have a plus sign that allows us to add more websites. This is called the website-list page, right? That captures the list of all the websites that this particular user has created so far, right? It allows you to create new ones. If you click on plus, navigates to another page that allows you to enter the name and description of a new website. It allows you to click on the cog to edit this particular website. It allows you to navigate back to the profile, right? Or if you click on the link of any of the website of a particular website, navigates to the child elements of that website, which are the pages, right? Each website has many pages, right? So if you click on any one website, it takes you to the list of pages. Also notice at the bottom we have a kind of like a silhouette, like a home button, that if you click on that, it takes you back to the profile, right, from anywhere on the website. You click there, it takes you to the profile. So notice that it's the same page, the website new.html. It's responsive. It knows that to render one way on portrait and one way on landscape, but it's exactly the same page. Okay. If you click on plus, it takes you here, new website, where you can enter the name of a new website, the description of that website. If you say OK, it would create the new website. Obviously, not for assignment number 2. Right? It doesn't actually create the website, not yet. If you click on the arrow, it takes you back to the list of websites. So it's kind of like a cancel. If you flip it and in the landscape, it keeps this on the right-hand side, but on the left-hand side, you get some kind of like a navigation, right? That shows all the websites, so it will allow you to navigate and edit any one website. Right? You see the new website still on the right-hand side. Okay. If you're using materials, this left-hand side, well, I guess you could do it with Bootstrap as well. You could make this collapsible, right? So that perhaps on the left-hand side you could have like a sandwich that if you click on it, it brings it it shows or hides it on demand. But that's not required. If you click on a particular website, if you click on the cog, of a website, on the right hand, if you're in portrait mode, it displays an editor that allows you to edit the website's description or the website's name. Right? If you're in landscape mode, it shows that website, the same content on the left-hand side here, but it shows the list of all the other websites, so that if you could jump around between the websites, you could click on any one of these, right? And on the right-hand side, it updates, right, showing the names of the website and the description of that particular website as you click around on the left-hand side. Okay. If you click on any particular website, it takes you to the list of pages. Right, so here are the pages. Same thing, right? Notice the pattern, right? Each entity is going to have a list that shows a list of all those entities. Also, it allows you to edit an existing entity or create a brand new one, right? So for pages, same thing, right? You have a list of pages, right? You have a plus that allows you to navigate to the new page. And when you say OK, it goes back to the list of pages and it shows you the brand new page you just created. If you click on edit, it takes you to the edit page, right? It allows you to update the name of the page or the title of the page, say OK, and navigates back to the list of page with a new name, right? If you click, notice that I didn't bother to show the landscape version of these, right? I'm only showing the portrait, but the requirements are the same, right? These also need to have landscape versions. Okay. Also notice that the coloring is somewhat different. This one is grayish. This one is bluish. Just choose one of them. Doesn't have to be blue. Doesn't have to be gray. Right. Choose your own color scheme. Right. Make it look anything you want. You can override some of these. If you don't like the rounded corners, go ahead and change that. Right? If you don't like the fonts, change the fonts a little bit. All right. Change the padding a little bit, perhaps. Okay. So make it yours. Right. The icons don't have to be exactly these. Right. In the rubric, I don't know if you've seen the rubric. I say use the OK glyphicon, right, or equivalent. Right? It's okay also to use text. If you want to prefer and put here on OK, that's okay. All right. If you prefer a different arrow here or a different glyphicon, that's fine. Right. So if you have an improvement, go ahead. All right. And if we for some reason penalize you for it, let me know and we'll give you the points. Okay. If you have a good a good reason, we'll definitely give it to you. We are reasonable. If you click on a particular page, right, it takes you to the widgets view, right, where you can see all the widgets on that particular page. Okay, so here's an example of what the widget list might look like. Right, you have all several types of widgets here. The first one is a header widget, right? That is of maybe size 1 or size 2. Right. The second widget is a smaller header. Okay, maybe size 4, right, or 5. Here's a third widget, which is it looks like an image widget. Right. Notice that we know they're widgets because there are some kind of like the heads-up toolbar. Right. Each one has it so that allows you to interact with that widget. This thumb here would allow you to drag and move it around on the page, so you could reorder it and place it in a different order, right? You can put it in a different position. The cog would allow you to navigate to an editor that will allow you to edit that particular widget, right? And different widgets will have different editors, right? The title widget will have just maybe the size of the widget, right? The size of the header, maybe the name, the text, right? That's it. If it's an image, it'll have the URL of the image, right? Or maybe it will allow you to upload a brand new image. Yes? So each widget will have a different editor. For this assignment, we're asking you to implement, I think, 3 editors, right? I think the heading widget, the YouTube, and the image, I believe. What else? What else? This widget over here is a raw HTML widget, right? That would allow you to, perhaps copy and paste text or HTML that has been already formatted, that might have links and CSS associated. Just copy it and just paste it on here. Okay. This one is a YouTube video widget that would allow you to copy and paste the URL of a YouTube video, and it would be embedded. Okay. Down below here on the left-hand side, there's some icons here that are just placeholders right now. Just put them in there. Right now they won't do anything, but the idea would be that you should be able to preview the page the way it would look like, right, if you publish this, right? What would the end user see, right, if they want to preview it? Okay. The images and paragraph and content don't have to be exactly what it says here, right? So feel free to copy things from different articles or different YouTube videos, or the heading text could be something else from your favorite blog. Okay. If you click on the plus, it takes you to a widget chooser, right? And here's just a sampling of the types of widget that you should be able to drag and add to the page. Right now we're going to focus just on a couple of these, right? On the header widget, label, and I believe HTML. Actually, no, I think maybe the image and YouTube. Let's see. If you click on header, right, it takes you to an editor that allows you to edit that widget you just added. Okay, it allows you to add the text for the widget and the size, right? This three over here, it's actually a drop down. It's supposed to be a drop down, right? We can select the drop down, and the size will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? The size of the heading, even though it looks like an input field, it's actually drop down. Okay. Okay. Here's what it would look like for an image. If you click on the image widget, this one, image widget, it navigates to the widget image editor, right? That allows you to upload an image. This over here, this input field here is a file chooser input field, right? Meaning it's input of type file, right? That would allow you to navigate to a local file system, but on the phone, it would allow you to navigate to your pictures, right? Your videos or images that you would like to upload. There's an input text that you can type in the percentage of the width. This is a URL, right? If you click on the YouTube video, YouTube widget, it navigates to this widget YouTube editor, all right? That allows you to copy and paste the URL of a YouTube video, the width, right, and say OK, and it would parse this URL, and really later on in assignment number 3, right, it's going to grab this ID. See this ID over here? That YouTube ID is going to grab that, and it's going to create an iframe out of this, right, that will embed the YouTube video using that ID. But that's assignment number 3. Okay. For now, feel free to just copy, some iframe from some YouTube video of your choice. Keep it clean, and just put it here in the YouTube. Okay. Here's a formal description of what the flow of the application should be. All right, which is basically what we just talked about. Right. You start off on the login page, and you can either go register or cancel. If you register, you go to the profile, or from login, if you log in, you go also to the profile page. If you say OK, for now, it's going to stay on the profile page. It's not going to give any feedback. Typically, if you say OK, a small message would show at the top saying, the updates have been successful. Your profile is now up to date. Then if you click on websites, you navigate to the list of websites. If you click on new, you go to new website. If you say OK or cancel, you navigate back to website list. If you click on edit, you go to the edit website. You click OK or cancel, it goes back to list of the entities. Notice a pattern, right? Each entity has at least 3 pages associated with it, right? And you could argue that these two could be merged, right? That the new website could also be merged with the edit website, right? And perhaps just call it like a details page, right? It would be smart enough to know whether you're editing or you're creating a new one. You could argue that. That's fine. So yeah, so each entity has at least 2 pages, right? One that lists the entire number of instances of that particular domain object, right? And then one that allows you to either create one or update an existing one, right? And they all have something like this, right? The websites, the pages, the widgets. The only one that does not have a list of users is users, right? Right? Because only a system administrator would be able to do something like that, right? Typically, I log in, I shouldn't be able to see everybody else's list of all the users, right? Unless perhaps if we add some social networking aspects to this, right? Perhaps I should be able to search for other folks, right? If I know their if I know their username, or if I search by their first name and last name, perhaps it would give me a list of users that match my criteria, right? And I would be able to perhaps invite them, perhaps, yes. But we don't have that social networking here. But it would you would go back to this idea, that you would have the list that you could edit a particular instance. In this case, you would only be able to edit your own profile, right? You would not be able to edit somebody else's. You'd be able to maybe view somebody else's profile, right? Perhaps the public version of their profile, right? Not the private, and perhaps a list of users that meet a search criteria that you could invite over or follow or whatnot, right? Some social aspects. Down below here it's again, this is the same information as captured in this diagram, but in textual or tabular format, if it's preferable to you, right? Captured in 2 different ways. Styling, please use the bootstrap styling that we're going to be covering today and next week. Alternatively, you can use Angular materials. Make sure that the input fields are of the correct type, right? If they're text, they should be text, dates, numbers, right? Files. Make sure that they're correct data types or their drop downs. Emails should be emails. Passwords should be passwords. Dates should be dates. Okay. The text areas should be at least three rows high. The file field should be file. Some of them would have some default text, like such as these input fields here. The edit pages, right, should have some default text, right? Whereas new pages should be empty. And notice that there's a placeholder here. See that? That's kind of like that grayish, giving a hint of the user of what we're asking for, right? Again, it's always a good idea to give the user, make sure they understand what it is that we're asking for, right? That we give a hint of what is it that the information that we require. All input fields should use a form control class or equivalent, right? That makes the input fields block elements, right? They take up the entire width of the container, right? And add some formatting. Also, they should all have placeholders, right, to give some feedback to the user, or some kind of tooltip would be nice. Buttons and links, as we'll see later on, sometimes you can use buttons, sometimes you can use links. I prefer to use links all the time, but they should all look like buttons, right? So I'm suggesting using these classes in Bootstrap or the equivalents in Materials or Foundation. Tables should only be used for tables, for tabular data. You should never use tables to format or lay out the content of a page. All right. For that, you can use divs and floats, but feel free to use table for tabular data, right? There's going to be headings, there's going to be rows that are going to be a representative of records, right? And each one is going to have a field. The field should be of the same data type. If your tables are big, please use table responsive in Bootstrap. That allows big tables to fit in small screens, right? That you should be able to scroll left and right, without scrolling the entire page, right? If pages are way too big, they should not, force a horizontal scroll bar on the page, right? That would look unwieldy on small screens. Glyphicons, Bootstrap gives quite a bit of different types of images that can be used. Or alternatively, you can use Font Awesome. Make good use of white spaces, right? Make sure that things are not scrunched up. That you use some paddings and margins, right, to in between elements. Pinching and zooming. When I know there was a discussion on Piazza. So on older websites that didn't support responsive design, obviously pinch and zooming was the only way that you can make the page usable at all on smaller screens, on especially phones that would have really high resolution, and what they would try to do is to try to render what you would see on the desktop, right? Render it on a small screen, and the font would be tiny. You wouldn't be able to even read it. On newer websites that are mobile friendly and that Google search engine gives priority to websites that are mobile friendly. The pinching and zooming has less importance, right? Because the responsive pages are already of the correct size, right? The buttons are the correct size, the fonts are the correct size, presumably, right? Presumably, there's no need for the pinch and zoom. There are still cases where you want to have pinch and zoom for interacting with certain elements, right? Images where you can zoom in and see more of the image, perhaps, right? Use pinch and zooming sparingly where needed. Horizontal scroll bars, be careful, right? Horizontal scroll bars should not be displayed in general, right? And at the overall website, there shouldn't be any need for you to be able to have to scroll left or right. Unless perhaps you're displaying large tables, right, that don't fit on a page, it would be okay to scroll left and right, but not the entire page, right? Only the container that contains that particular table, and we'll see that how to accomplish that using Bootstrap. Headers and footers are stuck to the top and bottom, right? So to give some navigational context to the user as they interact through the web page. In production, use a CDN. It's okay to use JavaScript libraries installed locally on your development environment, but in production, when you deploy it to Heroku, they should be using CDNs. Pages should not use style elements. So within the page, right, you should not have a style element or attributes, right? So don't override your styles within the HTML pages. You should always be linking to outside style sheets, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. No need to have any JavaScript for now in this particular assignment. If you want to move ahead and start adding some behaviors with JavaScript, that's fine. Okay, but it's not required for this first assignment. Let's see. Deliverable. So you're going to like you did for the first assignment, right? You're going to commit and push this to your repository. If you're using Heroku, this will automatically deploy to Heroku, right? And you'll see your changes right away. If you're using OpenShift, you can also configure it that way, right? Or you might need to in addition, deploy specifically to OpenShift or AWS to see your changes on those hosted environments. Tagging, you need to tag your assignments, right? And this assignment, you need to tag it with assignment2, okay? Meaning you can do it right from GitHub, right? You can generate a release, right? And then that release, please use assignment2. If after having released you realize that you had a couple more things that you had forgotten to do, that's fine. You can create yet another release, assignment 2.1, 2.2. We're going to grade the very last one, okay? But please tag them, right? I don't want to have the TAs have to track you down because you didn't tag it, and we don't know what to grade, all right? So it's time consuming. Please don't forget to tag your very last commit. Okay. And on Blackboard, I just ask you to copy and paste your GitHub URL and your online URL to your hosted environment. We're going to tabulate this, put it in a spreadsheet for everybody. But this is only for convenience, our convenience, so that we can quickly just click and go look at the GitHub, right, and maybe pull down the repository and view your content online, right? If you're using AWS, the TAs are already grading, and they should be done hopefully by Friday, perhaps on Sunday, and we'll let you know so that you can shut off your AWS instance. All right. Although if it's just idling there, nobody's hitting it, it shouldn't accrue any cycles, so you shouldn't be charged for it anyway. All right. All right. Any questions? Yes. Which one? Over here?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
If you click on the check,
right.
It should add a new website, but that's not possible.
Right. We can't do that. It doesn't actually add anything.
So should it remain on a website new.html, or should it go back to the list of websites?
Just a list of websites. Yep. Okay. Yeah, right now we don't have any actual logic to add anything or remove anything or update anything. Right? We'll add that in assignment number 3. Okay. All right.